Today's daf is Masechs Nedarim Daf Ayin Tes. So we're at the bottom of Ayin Chesem Beis, second line from the bottom, the second word right after the dot, Masav. So the Gemara is going to ask, Masav Rav Chizar. Rav Chizar is going to ask on the memra that Reb Chanina said from the Brisa. What did Reb Chanina say? Reb Chanina said, Hashoisik almanas lamekat, if somebody is shoisik almanas just to bother, but really his intention is to mefer la'achar zman. Halacha is mefer even from now until up to 10 days, or even till 10 days, maybe even more. Okay, I don't know about more than 10 days, but even now, he has even up to 10 days to be mefer. So, Masar of Chizda, Factor of Chizda, Chaymer Bahake Mibahafer, there's a chumrah of in Hakama than Hafara, Ubahafer Mibahakim, and by Hafara there's a chumrah over Hakama. Zak the Gemara, Chaymer Bahakim, what is the chumrah of Hakama? Shashtika Mikayemes Ve'ein Hashtika Vateles. Why? Because Shtika could be Mikayem B'Yom Shama, you could work on the Hakama. However, the Umazois a Shtika cannot be Mevato on Neder. And another thing that Hakama makes Hakama better, because Kiyem Beliba, if you Mikayem Neder believe, means you didn't say anything, then it's Kayam. Now this considered has a din Hakama in it. However, Hefer Beliba, if you do Afar Beliba, it doesn't say anything, ain't a Mufar. Because Afara could only be done bepet. It has to be done with him speaking. Zok the Gemara weiter. Kiyem, if after he's Mekayim it, Ein Yachal Hafer, he cannot make a Hakama. Why? Because it says Isha Yikemenu, that once it's Neskayim, once the husband is Mekayim it, it's a Kiyem. Hefer Ein Yachal Hakayim. After Afara, cannot be Mekayim it. So now the Gemara is saying that halacha, that aspect, Hakama and Afara have the same halacha, that you cannot change them once they're done, either Afara or Hakama. So now Rav Chizda is going to go back and ask his question. So what's his kasha? Master Rav Chizda, Zakti Gemara. So again, so what we're saying is that okay. So Zakti Rav Chizda, Katani, what does it say? It says over here in the Brisa, Shashtika Mekayemes. You see that Shtika can make a kiyam, my love. Isn't it talking about the Shaisik Amanas Lamekat? And not like Rabbi Chanina. Chanina says Shaisik Amanas Lamekat can be made for even Mekan Allah Chasar Yamim. You see over here that it says that Shtika is Mekayim, and Zok Rav Chizah is talking about Shtika, that the Shtika is Mekayim, so I'm not talking about Amanas Lamekat. Zok the Gemara, Loi, it's not talking about such a Shtika, but Shaisik Amanas Lakayim. Rather, it's talking about a Shaisik Amanas Lakayim. And it's saying that Shaisik Amanas Lakayim, Hakama believe is a Hakama. So Frakti Gemara, Hainu Kayim believe by Kayim. So Frakti Gemara, if you tell me that it's somewhere a regular Shtikal, that's the second part of the Brisa, that it said that Kayim believe by is Kayim. It's a regular, it's the same din Hakama l'chera. So Hainu Kiyem B'Liba Kayim, Zakti Gemara, Elo B'Shoisik Stam. No, it's talking about, what's the Brisa saying? A Shtika is Mekayim, it's talking about a regular Stam Shtika, that is not Mechavim for anything. Not Amanas L'Kayim, and not Amanas L'Mekat. So then the Brisa is saying a Shtika is Mekayim. Zakti Gemara weiter. Ashkechon. Now the Gemara is going to go off on a little, slightly different topic. Zakti Gemara, Ashkechon. We find Chomer B'Hakim B'Hafer, Lagabe Shtika and Lagabe Hakama believe that there's a chumrah of Hakama over Hafara. However, Behefer Mehakim Minalwan. But Lamaisa, what's the chaymer of Hafara over Hakama? What's the chaymer? Like the Gemara, Rabbi Yechon and Nishal al Hakim can be shoyal on a Hakim if the father is Meker Neder or the Baal, then the halacha is going to be shoyal on Hakama by a Chacham, and you can be Oikerim. And after that she'ela, they could go back and they could be meferit. But l'gabi hafara ve'ena shalom ala hafara. If someone was meferit, then they cannot be shoyal hafara and go back and mekayim the nether. So that in that way, in that regard, hafara is more chomer than hakama. Now they're going to go back. The Gemara is going to go back to halacha Reb Chanina. That shoyis hakamas lameka. It's not considered shtika. So frakti Gemara, Maser Reb Kahana. Another question Reb Chanina's halacha from the Brayso. This that it says b'midbar parak lam pasuk tesvav v'im hacharesh yacharish la isha miyoyim al yoyim v'hekim is kol nederah. He's making her Nedarim. So Zakti Gemara, b'shoyis hakamas lameka meka akasim Nedarim. The pasuk is talking about that he's shoyis hacharesh yacharish. And it says it's a kama. So Zakti Gemara, you're telling me that's Shoyis Kamanas just to bother? Or maybe Shoyis Kamanas Lakayim. Maybe it's talking about that. He's Shoyis Kamanas to be Makayim the Nether after the Yom Shmiya passes. Zakti Gemara, Kshu at the end of the pasuk, Hakim Oisak Yehechor Shlam Yom Shamai Hare B'Shoyis Kamanas Lakayim Hakasam Medaris. Over there in the Sefer of the pasuk, Shoyis Kamanas Lakayim Hamani Makayim. So what does it mean that in the beginning of Hachar Shachshla Isha must be talking about B'Shoyis Kamanas Lameka Hakasam Medaber, and it's mafurish, not like Reb Chanina that says that it's not Makayim and Neder. The Chayis from the beginning of the pasuk that it is Makayim and Neder. Shoyis Kamanas Lakayim Amanas Lamekat. Zakti Gemara. Tiyufta. It's taka good kasher mechanina from this brayso. You see from this brayso that it's a sparring from the pasuk, not like that. Zok the Gemara weiter. Frag the Gemara. Velukim l'chor the two shtikas in the pasuk. The Gemara have another shot. Habashoyis hakamas lakayim. Maybe one's talking about Habashoyis hakamas lakayim. Habashoyis stam, and maybe one's not talking about Habashoyis hakamas lameka. Maybe the other one's talking about stam shoyis. He has no intention at all. Not hakamas lamekat and not hakamas lakayim. So the Gemara kroy yisei riksiva l'chayra. It says more than two psukim by shtika. Why? Because it says hacharish yacharish. So that's shtikas, and it says v'chihacharish. Law, that's a third shtika, because it says Hamachar Shachar, it's two. So the Chayr is three different shtikas. One's on Nas Lakayim, one's Shoyis Stam, and one's Shoyis Nas Lamekat. So the Chayr Vaiti still, like the more you still see, you have three shtikas in the Torah L'Chayra, so it must be one of them is Shoyis Nas Lamekat, so you see it's a Kama. Masav Rava, Frakt Rava, on Rabbi Chanina's halacha, Shoyis Nas Lamekat can be made for even Mekan the start until 10 days. The Mishnah says before Daf Ayin Vav on Beis. It says Nodra im Chashecha. If he makes a neder on Shabbos before it gets dark, before Mitzvah Shabbos, Allah is made for la achal chashcha. Before the nighttime, he could be made for the neder. And the Chacham did not aser hafara sandarim on Shabbos. Shem loy hefer v'chashka, because if he is not made for and it gets dark, maybe he can no longer be made for it. So, for the Gemara, according to Rechanina Amai, why? According to Rechanina, why did they not ask her Hafaras and Dharma Shabbos? L'chayra, even if the Chacham would ask her Hafaras and Dharma Shabbos, he could still be made for Motzei Shabbos, and even if he was made for, even if he shasak b'yayim shamay, l'chayra does not. He have a case where he's not mafsidus chos hafara. Why? Because lehavi k'shoyis hakamas lamekat. Say it should be like a shoyis hakamas lamekat, and it should be able to be made for after Shabbos. Because l'chayra, if the chacham say that it can't be made for on Shabbos, then that should have a din like the Chanina, like shoyis hakamas lamekat. What's shoyis hakamas lamekat can be made from now until 10 days? Only because you say that the guy's intention is not to really make a hakam. His intention is, and he just wants to bother, he wants to wait. So if Chacham asked hafara on Shabbos, then let it be the same thing. The reason why he's shoysik is not because he wants to make him, and no, he wants to be made for it afterwards, but he knows it's asar on Shabbos. So the Gemara, it's taka good kasha chanino, and we see from this as muchach that even a shtika amanas lamekat is mekayim the nether. Masav Rav Ashi, now Rav Ashi has a kasha on Chanina. The Mishnah says later on, Daf Pezayin and Aleph, if the Baal says, Yedea ani sheyesh nedarim, avol any yedea sheyesh mefirin. If the Baal says, I know that there are nedarim, however, I don't know, means he knows it has a din nether gomer, but he doesn't know that the Baal has a schus afara. So halacha is he can make for that neder b'din afara. Why? Because as long as he doesn't know that there's a din afara, it's not considered yom shmiyah. But what happens if he says Yodani sheish mefirin, knows that the mefirin any dash is a neder? However, I don't know what this that she made is considered a neder. So then the halacha is Rameir Oimer lo yafer. It's too late. He can't be made for anymore tomorrow because he already had the yom shmiyah. Because he knew that there's a din afara, so it's considered the yom shmiyah. It's going to be shmiyah passed. Too late. He can't make afara tomorrow. Chachamim, however, say Chachamim Ma'imrim. As long as he does not know that this neder is a bar afara, it's not considered yom shmiyah. So that's machlekes, fundamental machlekes are Meir and Chachamim. So therefore, Zaktu Chachamim Yafer, he could be made for in the day that he knows that this neder is a neder sheyesh ba'afara. So frekti Gemara, l'cher, why later Meir v'amai hakam later Meir can be made for after yom shmiyah lev k'shay sangam naslam mekat. It should have the din misvara to be like Shesam Aslam Mekat because he did not know it's another Sheesh Ba'afara. As like Gemara Tiyofta Taka Kashmer Mechanina, as Taka Chanina's halacha is saying that when he's Shesam Aslam Mekat he gave Mefi Mikana Sar Yom Taka Agafrekt Hadron Allah Naira Hamirasa. Okay, new parak. So next parak is parak ve'elu nedarim. So we'll give a little akadama. So in the last parak was before that the Torah gave Rishus, parak Nair Marasa, the Torah was speaking about basically that the Torah gave Rishus for Baal to make for the nedarim of his wife. However, it wasn't said in all types of nedarim, only by nedarim that shagoyim ini nefesh, or by nedarim which shagoyim for that there's friction between the husband and the wife. So this paragraph is going to speak about which nedarim can be made for altin and nefesh, and which one are things that are dvarim should be no, which is between a husband and wife, and all other details of these halachos. Zok tehilga mishnah ve'elu nedarim shehu meifar. These are nedarim that are Baal can make for his wife. Tavarim sheish ban ini nefesh. Dafka if she makes an head that Isra hana, things that are ini nefesh, which she has physical pain, like she asked it on herself, all the fruits in the world, and so on and so forth. Zakta Gemara, Zakta Mishnah, Machlaikis, that the Chacham hold that im erchatz, im lo erchatz. That a woman that makes a neder and she says she's aser is all hanas rechitza washing, im erchatz if she washes, and or she says vim lo erchatz, and the fact that she wouldn't, or she says if I wash I'll have inu nefesh, or if I don't wash. So therefore the Baal can make for this neder or this shvur. Also if she says im eskashet, im lo eskashet. So there also there's inu nefesh. She's not dressing herself up. The Baal could have been made for. Amar Rabbi Yossi says. So that's she's chacham. Rabbi Yossi says ein elu nidre inu nefesh. That's not considered nidre inu nefesh. Ve'elu hein nidre inu nefesh. These are them. Amra kainim peres olam life. She says all the fruits should be also on me like a carbon. Hareza yachal lahafer. Then he could be made for because her not eating fruits is considered a nefesh. However, she says peres medina zualai. Only these peres of this country. That's not a nefesh because yavi lo medina acheres. He could go bring her pears from somewhere else. So in that case, he cannot be made for. It's not considered a nefesh. Also, Paris Chenveni Zelai says this vendor, this store, I can't offer because he could buy from another Chenveni. If the parnasa, all the income of the Baal came from this Chenveni she asked herself in, so she's going to be having hana automatically. or he would sell him a credit, then the halach is harei ze yafer, that he can make for his nether because sometimes he won't have money, and if he can't get payers on credit, then she'll have it in nefesh. Divrei Rabbi Yossi, that is the shittas Rabbi Yossi. Zakti Gemara. So the Mishnah said that these are Nedarim Kim Mefer, things that you have in your nefesh. So Zakti Gemara, it's mashmei and nidrei in nefesh who the Mefer, that nidrei in the nefesh the Baal Kim Mefer. However, she'ain ben in nefesh, but the Darim that there's no in nefesh, and in Mefer, it's mashmei they can't be made. For Zakti Gemara, Vatani, we learned in a brayso on the pasuk that says in Parashas Darim, Aminu Parak Lama pasuk Yidayin, it says bein ishla ishtoi bein avla bitoi. So we learn now bein ishla ishtoi bein lam and shabal mefer in Darim, ba'af mefer in Darim she'bein ola bein no. You see, in Mefer and Nedarim, it says that even Beinoi LeBeinah, just between him and his wife, but it doesn't say there has to be in nefesh. So what's pshat that the Chum says has to be in nefesh? What's that the Mishnah says has to be in nefesh? So the Gemara, after the Gemara, Amri Holein v'Holein Mefer. Both said I'm the Balki and Mefer. Sign in nefesh, sign in Dvarim Shemin LeBeinah. Miu. There's a difference because in nefesh Mefer Lo'ilam. He the Balki and Mefer and his Hafaras Chal forever, even after he divorces her. Avol ein bani nefesh, if the neder has no physical pain, and it's just beinoi lebeina, k'di'isa techoisei have afara. So when she's under him, when she's married to him, then his afara helps. But kimigarish la chayla neder. However, once they get divorced, let's say they get divorced in 2 months, then automatically the hafara he made was batal, and the neder comes back on. Very interesting with the Gemara. Big difference. So that's why the Mishnah only says Dvarim Shemin in Nefesh and not Dvarim Shemin Elim. So that's Taka the Pshat. Because that's the difference. The Mishnah is trying to point out the difference between them. So, for the Gemara, Dvarim Shemin in Nefesh, Kimigarish L'chayil Allah. Is that true, that halacha? That Dvarim that is not in Nefesh, Nedarim, they come back on after a divorce? But Tanam, we learned in the Mishnah later on, Pehei Amid Aleph, Legabi, a woman that she asks her Maisi Yadayim on her husband with an Isser carbon. That the Tanakama says that the neder is not chal at all because she's mishabet to her husband. She can't make such a neder, and therefore she does not need afar at all. Rabbi Yochanan Nuri says that even though the neder is not chal, however, Yofer, the Baal should be made for the neder because Shemi Yigrishena. Maybe he'll divorce her, and then the neder will be chal on a Maaseh Yadayim. And if she would want to come back and marry him to Yasuraloi, then she would be usher in him because of chashash that he's going to have enough for Maaseh Yadayim. But if he does the hafara, then the neder will be batal legamri, even if he gets divorced. Sa'alma, what do you see from this that he said? You see that even dvarim that's ein bani nefesh, like that case where he aser Maaseh Yadayim is not in a nefesh. You see that the hafar would help, even if they were to get divorced and then they decide to remarry later on. Zakti Gemara Amri, so Bnei Yeshiva explained the halein v'halein have hafar. Both of them hafar works. You're right. Elo. So what is the difference between a Nedarim in nefesh and a Nedarim bein olam and Elo nidin nefesh mefer bein la'atzim and lacherim. You know what the difference is? Nidin nefesh a Baal can mefer sai for himself. Sai the hafar is negeh for him, which is when he's married to her, and Sai, when that far negeh for other people, means even after he divorces her and she gets married to someone else. However, ein bani nefesh, if it's just beinoi lebeina, like the case of where he asked her Maaseh Yadayim, where she asked him Maaseh Yadayim, ein bani nefesh la'atzmei for himself. As long as a neder is negeh for him, he could take a mefer and bichal, even if he gets divorced and remarried. That's fine. You're right. But lacherim, if she gets divorced and marries another man, then ain't a mefer. That would not help. That far would not work for that. V'hachikatani, and that's pshat in our Mishnah. Our Mishnah says, Elon Nedarim shel mefer, bein la'atzmoi, bein la'acherim. That's what our Mishnah says. That it's never batal. But Nedarim sheish b'nei nefesh, he could only make for la'atzmai and not fa'acherim, and therefore. So that's what the Mishnah says. The Mishnah says, Allah says, Eilan Dvarim Shu Mei for Dvarim Sheyesh Minu Nefesh. It's come to exclude that Dafka Dvarim Sheyesh Minu Nefesh, he can make for a sai for himself, sai for others. However, if it's Dvarim Shemina Neder on Dvarim Shemina Libena, he could only make for himself, even if he gets divorced and remarried himself, but for someone else it will never help.